Now, after you've made that order, right? So you've gone through that process. You signed up for the Yext replacement program. You submit all your information, including billing. Then you're going to get an email in your inbox, and it's going to look something like this. This is what it looks like, at least now in February 2021. There's a lot of information here. It kind of talks about the turnaround time. If you already do have a Yext account, then this is kind of the steps that they recommend that you do. We don't necessarily have that for a lot of our clients, so that's not generally valuable information, but it could be. And then what they're going to kind of give you is they're going to give you a sheet down here that you need to fill out. So you can go ahead and click on that and then edit it using Google Sheets, which I typically do. Now, there's a bunch of information that they're going to need to be able to fill out this form here and to be able to move forward. They hope that if you don't already, that they hope that you have a listings email address. So this is essentially like a throwaway email address. It could be like an info at whatever your domain is .com. In our particular example, what's interesting is if you don't have an email address that you use for this, they will actually create one for you. They'll create a @sparkmail.ca email address. And it's kind of advantageous for them or for you in some ways, because using their @sparkmail.ca email address that they'll create for your individual listings, you can actually bypass some of the verifications that are needed to be able to create some of the listings. Now, this isn't always 100% advantageous for you, because it is generally better that if you're creating a website or a business listing for volpinemarketing.com, then it's generally better if you have an @volpinemarketing.com email address, right? That's going to help you be able to have higher success rate, is kind of what it says if you have kind of that branded email. But in general, for my clients, I just leave this blank and have them use a SparkMail email address. I just have them create one for you. So that means you can kind of skip a lot of this information as far as the registration email, the login link, and then of course the password. So then you just need to fill out the information that is here. So go ahead and get that business name. So once again, for this, if you're trying to keep your citations consistent with your Google My Business listing, which is what I recommend you do, go grab that and put that information in this particular sheet. Go through it and do all of these things that they're asking for. Address line 1, well, that's pretty straightforward. They're looking for this particular thing right here, right? And I grabbed a good amount of that information here because, you'll need it at different places, but they do have different lines for the different elements that you have in there. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of go through this using this information here. Now, I know they're not going to need this because this is the information on like their city and stuff like that, but this is kind of how I would recommend doing this. Like so. Now, if you have the primary phone number, which hopefully you do, it's right here. Go grab that. And then just, of course, get it here in this information. This one asks if there's like a phone tree. So if they call this phone number, are they going to get through to people? All you need to do essentially is say yes or no, that yes, there is a phone tree, or no, there is not a phone tree. For most of my clients, they do not. So all we need to do is, if there's not one, then you just put no, right? So pretty straightforward there. Your website email address there, if you have a particular URL that you want to have in there, because this one is for my Brigham City location, I'm going to make sure I have exactly the right URL, which happens to be this particular one. But once again, you should be able to go get that information here from the Google My Business listing, assuming, of course, you have that all correct. So yeah, it just kind of looks like this. If you have an email address there that you have for that, then that's fantastic. For this particular one, it is leads at thegablesfamily.com. And then category, well, in this particular example, the main category is assisted living. So just something like that. A business description. Once again, I hope that your Google listing already has this, but if not, you may need to write one. So I will just go ahead and grab this and pop this one in here, just like so. Boom, have that in there. Now, this next portion here is, if there are different name, address, or phone number variations. So let's say for whatever reason, you decided to change your business name, or you change your business address, or you change your business phone number, no problem. This is where you'd kind of put this information. For this particular client, we have not, so this is not helpful, but if I had changed it from, from Blue Mountain Assisted Living to the Gables, then I would put that previous business number there, previous address if it had been moved, previous phone number, names of different practitioners or professionals. This can be very, very valuable, especially if you're like a doctor or something like that, because it's really common that they will have their information in there as far as, at, Mark Butler or whatever it is, DDS for that particular dentist that may work at that office. So it's good to have that kind of information so that White Spark knows to be looking out for them. The rest of this information is not necessary to be able to move forward, but it is helpful. So if you have your hours of operation, they actually give you kind of a format that you can follow to be able to insert that information. It looks something like this. So if this just happens to be your hours, then I would just literally copy and paste this. You can see that upper limit there is in military time. So just kind of keep that in mind, right? So if they actually open up at 9, go ahead and put 9. And then of course this means closing at 5 there, 1700 hours there. If you have this primary image URL, there's a way that you can find that. And the way that I would generally do this is you kind of come up here, right click, and then open image in new tab, right? So that will take me literally to this particular logo. That is what I would recommend popping into this section here to be able to move forward. If you have like a caption that you want to have, so for this particular one, I don't know if I necessarily do, but it could be helpful if you have that. You can then go grab a bunch of different images for this particular location or for your business or whatever you want. I hope that your website already has them. That would be really, really good. It may or it may not. But if it does, which I'm hoping it does, you can literally go get those different locations there. So for me, for this particular one, let's see here. This looks like a good one. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. And then I'm going to open that in a new tab. And let me get out of here. Let's see here, what other ones do I want? I want this one. This one looks good. Let me go ahead and grab that one. So I'm going to grab both of these URLs and I'm going to post that in there just like so. I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of these, but for that that should work pretty well. For these, you can put a caption, and I might. For this particular one, I'm going to put Brigham City Assisted Living Facility. There we go. The Gables, right? I'm going to do something like that. And I think it's good to do that simply because then you can have images out there on the web that have this keyword in there, or whatever keywords that you're looking for. In this particular one, I really am trying to push Brigham City Assisted Living Facility or variations of that term, so I would do that. I would go ahead and do as much of this as you can. I think the more the merrier, right? I think that's going to be beneficial. The company owner or contact. So this is displayed publicly. It's not, I don't know if it's a huge deal, but if there's like an administrator or something like that that makes sense for this particular example, then I would do that. If there's an owner of the company, like Bart Benton, then I would literally put their name there, but you don't need to put any more of their information other than who they might be, right? So I'd put that information there. And then if there's someone that, like if there's a postcard verification that needs to go through that this needs to get to, then put that information here. And that's all helpful. All of this information here is helpful just in creating kind of this network for you. So if you have a Twitter profile, Facebook page, YouTube channel, Instagram, whatever, then it'd be a great opportunity to kind of put that information in here. And then if you have any more information there for for the White Spark team, then that would be fantastic. After you've done all this and you have this all 100% filled out, I would then go ahead and say download, and then download like a PDF or an Excel sheet or something of that nature that has all this information in. Once you have that downloaded, come back here to the original email, and then you need to respond to the email and actually give this to them, I believe. Let me check, maybe make sure that's correct. You received this email, blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. Please download and complete this information. Once filled in all the necessary information, please reply to this email, attach the updated worksheet, and we'll get to work. So that is absolutely what I recommend doing. Fill this out 100%, download it, and then attach it to this email and send it to them. That should be pretty much everything you need to do to be able to get this party started. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.